Hey guys, Jackie here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about cards from the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan expansion that I am not going to miss at all. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to seeing leave standard. And I'm going to start with an obvious one, which is Jades. Now, Jades have been around for way too long, and they've been kind of in and out of the meta. And have just been... Oh god, Jade Druid has just been such an annoying deck for such a long time. Obviously there's powerful cards in Shaman as well. The Rogue one's not so much. Like, I'm not so worried about the Rogue Jade cards because they've never seen that much play. Jade Rogue has been more of a fun deck rather than an overpowering deck. But Druid and Shaman have been really annoying. Specifically Druid. So... yeah, good riddance, Jade Idol. Good riddance, Jade Blossom. Get out of area. Bye, Jade Behemoth. All of these get out of here. Can't wait to never see any more Jades again. Okay. I mean, to be honest, the thing about Jades is that it's mostly the fact that I feel like Jades have stopped mid-range decks being good for a while. Like, Jades have kind of been, like, a mid-rangey mechanic, but a mid-rangey mechanic that eventually scales into oblivion and becomes insanely strong. And so other mid-range decks, unless they get very far ahead early, they just kind of eventually just get overrun by Jades. And so hopefully with Jades gone, mid-range decks could kind of come back into the fray a little bit and maybe see a little bit more action. Okay, next we have Mistress of Mixtures, which when it first came out, I was quite excited about the card. I was like, okay, this is a nicely statted one drop that's going to be good in control decks because you get the healing as well. But it's seen so much play in Warlock recently that I'm just looking forward to seeing it go. Like, Warlock's not got many weaknesses right now. One of Warlock's main weaknesses is lack of healing. So the fact that they're going to be losing a little bit of healing is definitely good. And yeah, this card has gone for a card that I at first really liked, but now just I'm a bit sick of, and yeah, don't want to see anymore. Okay, next we have Potion of Madness. Now this is an interesting one because I think Potion of Madness has been a really interesting card. I've actually had a lot of fun with this card, and there's been a variety of decks I've been able to use it in, and lots of people have been able to play it in. There's been multiple control decks, obviously like Reno and Kazakus type priest decks. More recently, there's the Inner Fire Divine Spirit priest type decks. And I feel like the reason I'm looking forward to seeing it go is because it is just so powerful. And it is very fun to play because you're usually setting things up with it and you can set up for big turns. But there was a phase where if you're playing Hunter and the Priest had Potion of Madness, you would just lose on the spot because Potion of Madness would be so good against Hunter. And Potion of Madness is so good against so many cards. And even recently, if you're playing any kind of deck, the Priest can change your minion to have 2 attack and then steal your minion and then just kill you with it, Divine Spirit and a Fire. Which, I will admit, does take a lot of cards and you have to plan it out and stuff. But Potion of Madness has been... it's been a good card. I'm not gonna deny it's been like there's been times when I've loved this card and thought, oh, this card's amazing. I'm really glad they printed this. I can have a lot of fun with it. But then there's also been times where I've been like, oh, this card is way too strong. It's really, if the Priest draws this card, I'm at such a disadvantage already. So I did like this card, but same as Mistress of Mixtures. I liked it at first, and now I don't like it so much, and so I'm pretty happy to see it go. Okay, Dragonfire Potion. Dragonfire Potion's just been such a strong card for Priest. Obviously, it's been played in multiple different types of Priest decks. It's been played in Dragon decks, but it's also been played in like Big Priest and Control decks because it's such powerful removal. it's almost hard to imagine Priest without Dragonfire Potion. Like, it's hard to imagine that they used to play things like Holy Nova as AoE and Excavated Evil. Organized Circle is always like in and out of the meta. So with Dragonfire rotating out, Organized Circle and Holy Nova and these other type of AoE effects might kind of come back into the fray for Priest. Obviously, they have Duskbreaker now as well, which is really good. But yeah, losing Dragonfire is a bit of a hit for Control Priest decks, and so they're going to have to find other ways of removing stuff. Obviously, they have Psychic Scream, but Psychic Scream is not good if games go to Fatigue, because obviously you're putting a load of cards back in your opponent's deck, so there is a downside to that. So it's going to be interesting what Control Priests use for removal, because they're losing Pine-Sized Potion Shadow and Horror combo as well, so that's another big removal they're losing, so yeah, going to be interesting to see what they do. I don't have any hate towards Dragonfire Potion. I'm just, I'm just happy to see it move on, and Priest have to use some other kind of AoE effect. Trackside Operative. Now, this is a card that was obviously an overpowered card that was can't even get my words out. That was overpowered on purpose to try and push Dragon Priest to be a thing and try and make Dragon Priest become more popular and more appealing to play. And it has been a pretty fun card to play, to be fair. Like, the Discover mechanic is really good. And, yeah, it also tells you what your opponent has in their deck at the same time. So it's a pretty cool, it's a really cool card, but it is just obviously a bit too strong. Like, similar to Duskbreaker, it's just a card that's stronger than the average card, but it's like that on purpose to kind of make you want to play it and make you build around it. But Operative has been in so many different types of Priest decks. It would be missed for those people who love Dragon Priest, but I'm not one of those people, so so I will not be missing this card. Okay, Rasa. Now, I actually loved Rasa initially, like, when it first came out, playing Reno decks with Rasa, and even just, like, Rasa Kazakus decks. The card that made this a problem was the Priest Death Knight. The fact that you could get the Chain Gun effect, that type of Priest, the Rasa Priest with the Death Knight became pretty scary, and it was the most dominant deck kind of in ladder and tournaments for a while. And it was just weird because it was a control deck that, the thing that made it annoying is that it was just like, oh, if they have their Rasa and if they have their Death Knight, they basically win the game, because after they have these two cards, because their hero power is 0 mana, they can just keep using it whenever they play another card. They were able to just put out so much damage so quickly that it did just feel like game over if they had those two cards. And that was never a nice feeling. The kind of like, oh, I hope he doesn't have Rasa. Oh, I hope he doesn't have Death Knight. Oh, never mind, he has them both. I lose, I guess. That was never a nice feeling. So I'm glad they nerfed Rasa in the end. Although, to be honest, I'd rather them did something different to the Death Knight, because I actually did like Rasa changing your hero power to 0. It was kind of nice to have a 0 mana heal 2, or if you had Justicar earlier, like 0 mana heal 4. But yeah, the Priest Death Knight kind of ruined this card for me, to be honest. I mean, you could still play this card with the Priest Death Knight, even though it's now been nerfed, but it's just not as good. Cabal Talon Priest. This is another one of those cards. I feel like a lot of the cards that I'm not going to miss from Gadgetzan are all just obviously overpowered cards that are fun to play, but not fun to play against. Generally, most of them. Like Talon Priest, it's a great card to play. Like, if you like coin a 3-drop and then get Talon Priest on it the next turn, it feels great, because you know you've just done something that's really overpowered. But then if your opponent does it against you, it feels really terrible. It's just a bit too strong, really. I've played a lot of different decks before Dragons became popular that have kind of utilized this card in like Divine Spirit and a Fire combo decks to OTK people with like Injured Blade Master and stuff, and that's been really fun. But really, this card is just a bit too strong. If you get to use another minion, you're just in such an advantageous position, especially if you're playing things like Circle of Healing or you have any of Priest's other health buffs. and are just able to just stick things with such high health. It's really not nice to play against. But yeah, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan was definitely one of the craziest expansions in terms of how many powerful cards they had. So definitely not going to be missing Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. There is a few, obviously there's a few cards I wish I'd seen play more, and a few cards I will miss, but overall I'm going to be glad to see the expansion gone and move into a fresh new meta. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.